Alex realized he had been missing from his own life for years and no one, not even him, had noticed. Nothing had shattered. Nothing had exploded. Yet somehow, everything inside him was already gone. Before this story unfolds, if stories like this matter to you, if you believe real stories can save real lives, please like this video and subscribe. Someone out there is still silent, and this story might reach them in time. The first time he noticed the silence, it didn't feel strange. That was the problem. It felt normal. Too normal. Tuesday evening. Shoes still on. Sitting on the edge of his bed, staring at a blank wall like it owed him answers. The room was quiet, but the quiet wasn't empty. It was heavy, familiar, lived in, and that frightened him more than any noise ever could. From the outside, his life was fine. That safe, unimpressive word people use when nothing is visibly wrong. He had a job, stable, predictable. It paid the bills. He had a relationship, long enough to look respectable, comfortable enough to avoid questions. He had friends, not many, but enough to stay included, enough to keep appearances alive. Every morning he woke up, moved through the day, returned home, slept, and repeated. No disasters, no drama, no chaos, just motion without meaning. He told himself he had no right to feel empty. People have it worse, he would whisper inside his head. You should be grateful. So he stayed quiet. He believed comfort meant happiness. He believed stability meant success. He believed silence meant peace. And slowly, without noticing, he stopped feeling alive. At first it was small things. He stopped recognizing the person in the mirror. Not physically, but emotionally. The eyes looked distant, like someone watching life happen instead of living it. Conversations became shallow. Laughter felt borrowed. Thoughts echoed instead of speaking. He told himself, this is adulthood. He became good at being easy, good at not asking for too much, good at being dependable, predictable, safe. People liked that version of him. And somewhere along the way, he confused being peaceful with being invisible. There were warning signs, tiny cracks in the surface he pretended not to see, like rehearsing words in his head but never saying them out loud, like feeling envy watching strangers chase dreams he had quietly buried, like sitting in crowded rooms feeling strangely absent, as if his body showed up but his soul stayed somewhere else. But he ignored them, because nothing was wrong. His relationship wasn't toxic. That's what made it harder. There was no shouting, no cruelty, no obvious pain. They functioned. They coexisted. They knew each other's habits, routines, and preferences. But slowly they stopped seeing each other. Conversations turned practical. Affection turned automatic. Dreams turned postponed. Whenever that quiet ache rose inside his chest, he buried it under gratitude. Love isn't supposed to feel alive all the time. Passion fades. This is normal. He believed those words because questioning them felt dangerous. Then came the night, everything shifted without noise. He was out with friends, listening as someone spoke about starting over. A new city, a new path, a new chapter. Their eyes glowed with life, uncertainty, excitement, fear mixed with hope. And suddenly, something inside him collapsed. Not loudly, not visibly, just inward. He smiled, nodded, said the right things. But inside, a heavy truth settled. He hadn't chosen anything in years. He had only continued. That night, lying beside someone who knew him but no longer felt him, he stared at the ceiling and asked the question he had avoided for years. When did I stop being the main character in my own life? The answer came instantly. The day he chose comfort over truth, the day he chose silence over honesty, the day he chose being needed over being alive. He realized he had been living on autopilot, making decisions based on what was easiest, safest, least disruptive. He had prioritized everyone else's comfort over his own authenticity. He had become so reliable, so predictable, so agreeable that he disappeared. And the scariest part? He had gotten used to it. He didn't explode, didn't confront, didn't run. He became quiet in a new way. Not avoidance, observation. He started noticing everything. How often he swallowed his opinions, how rarely anyone asked what he truly wanted, how easily his presence faded into the background. He noticed friendships built on him being the listener, the supporter, the one who gave without asking. He noticed discomfort when he paused instead of filling silence, when he didn't instantly agree, when he didn't rush to reassure. Subtle, but real, and once seen, impossible to ignore. At work, he realized something painful. He wasn't stuck because he lacked ability. He was stuck because he lacked belief. He had trained himself to stay small, stay unnoticed, stay safe. In trying not to fail, he ensured he never truly lived. But strangely, there was calm in this discovery. No anger, no blame, just clarity. He stopped forcing conversations, stopped over-explaining, stopped performing his usual role. He simply stayed present. And everything began to shift. Some friendships grew distant, not from arguments, but from imbalance revealed. When he stopped overgiving, silence exposed who had been relying on him more than valuing him. It hurt. Loneliness crept in, but honesty replaced illusion. His relationship began to feel fragile, not from fights, but from emptiness. They both sensed the distance they had ignored for years. And slowly, gently, truth surfaced. They had grown into different people. Letting go wasn't dramatic. No shouting. No slammed doors. Just quiet acknowledgement. Late-night conversations fading into silence. Routines losing warmth. Two people realizing love alone wasn't enough when presence was gone. Walking away felt like mourning something that hadn't died suddenly but slowly. And for a while, the emptiness was unbearable. Without the roles he played, he didn't know who he was. That was the hardest part. Facing himself without distraction, without validation, without comfort. Just him and years of self-neglect. There were nights filled with doubt. Did I make a mistake? Was I just restless? Did I destroy stability chasing something undefined? But slowly, something new emerged. Space. Possibility. A quiet spark he hadn't felt in years. He began making choices based on truth instead of approval. He spoke when something felt wrong, pursued interests without justification, allowed himself to want again. And not everyone stayed. Some people drifted when he stopped being convenient. Some connections dissolved silently. And yes, it hurt, but clarity replaced confusion. The ones who remained stayed for him. Not the quiet, disappearing version, but the present, honest one. He learned something powerful. Being invisible doesn't protect you, it only delays pain. Shrinking yourself doesn't create harmony, it creates resentment. You can live a life that looks stable while slowly losing yourself inside it. The greatest loss wasn't the relationship, not the routine, not the identity he built. It was the years he believed he didn't deserve more than comfort. That wanting more meant being ungrateful. That silence was safer than truth. And the greatest gain? Self-respect. Not loud, not visible, but present in boundaries, in choices, in quiet refusal to abandon himself again. He didn't transform overnight. He still has doubts, still catches old patterns trying to return. But now he notices. Now he returns to himself. He is no longer a ghost in his own life. He takes up space, even when uncomfortable. He listens to that quiet voice inside him, even when it demands change, because he learned something most people realize too late. The saddest loss isn't losing people or paths that no longer fit, it's losing yourself while trying to keep them. And life never asks permission before it passes by. One day, if you're not paying attention, you wake up and realize you were present for everything, except yourself.
He chose to change that.